Good evening, race fans. Tonight, we take on Kansas Speedway in round 3 of the DSCR Chase Playoffs. My name is William Tiller. Of course, I am joined by my co-host of the evening, Carlos Acosta, and we have Conan Jones down on pit road. But here tonight, there was a major shakeup last week in these playoffs where Barrett Polyhemus took over the Chase Standings playoffs. But here tonight, Carlos, we're taking on a track that's a little bit different than what we've seen so far this year. The track formation is the same as what a lot of these drivers are used to. But you see that point standings there in the right-hand corner of your screen. This is one heck of a playoff chase we got going on here.
Yeah, well said. We saw in the beginning of the season the rise of Nick Delicado. 4 wins in a row, 6 wins overall in between all the races. And since the playoffs, since the chase begun, and remember, Chase Standings brought to you by C. Warren at NASCAR.com. So if you need tickets, especially to the brand new street race that's coming out next year, send an email to C. Warren at NASCAR.com. But ever since the chase begun, we've seen the downfall of Nick and Delicado and the rise of Luke and Anakin Skywalker. So that's been very pleasant to see. Now we're going to go into the halfway point of the chase here at Kansas, and it's been quite a mix-up so far. This should be a relatively smooth race. You know, it's a track that majority of the drivers have raced at or raced at similar type of tracks throughout their whole career. So we shouldn't expect anything chaotic, but we're probably going to get something chaotic.
Yeah, I think so, Carlos, but I feel like, though, halfway through these chase playoffs, though, a lot of these drivers are going to feel the anxiety. They're going to start to see their season window start to close a little bit. As you look at those point standings right there on the corner of your screen, really, Barrett Polyhemus is the only driver that's really made the most of this playoff opportunity, climbed up that grid. But here we go. We're taking a look at qualifying right now. It looks like Tom Ogle is on top of the grid so far. You see him right on track there in that 83 machine. A good run out of Tom Ogle to start things off here right now. See John DeBarro there as well. You see our points leader Barrett Polyhemus on the track there in that 79 machine. DJ Weeks is about to lay down a fast time as well as he's going to take over the top of the grid.
Now here's something that's a little weird. We're going to have the second week where we're going to have not that many drivers out on track. I'm counting 13 drivers that are going to be starting tonight's race, which is very lower than the Dynasty Stock Car Racing League is used to seeing. Of course, the last time this happened was a couple weeks ago when they went to a track that isn't really that popular among the majority of the drivers. So it's a little surprising to see Kansas, of all tracks, having a low car count. So hopefully a couple more drivers will join at the last minute. But you do see drivers dropping off as the season goes on, especially after the chase starts and people don't make it. They tend to just leave fully. But with less cars means kind of not really much ground to be made or lost. So if you have a bad race, the worst you're going to be finishing right now is 14th compared to possibly finishing outside the top 20. Still, you don't want to make a mistake, but of all the times you can do it, this would probably be it.
Yeah, as we're watching more drivers take on qualifying right now, trying to get a good starting position here at Kansas. Looking back at Talladega last week, Carlos, I missed that race. But looking at our stat sheet here, of course, Min Heng started on the pole there. Unfortunately, he's our lowest points total there outside of the playoffs. Ming's really come on strong here in these playoff races. Driver of the race was Barrett Polyhemus. Hard charger was Barrett Polyhemus, went from 17th to 1st. Lap leader, though, was David Westergreen. We see that 22 machine on the track right now in qualifying. Fastest lap of the race was Johnny Eckert there, and of course, winning manufacturer was Toyota. Is there any other fun facts or anything that the folks at home may have missed if they missed that race at Talladega last week?
Not really. Everything seemed very straightforward. A lot of the issues that we saw in Daytona didn't really come back to us here for Talladega, but most of it was just a couple of the chase drivers having issues.
Looks like the
But hey,
starting
also,
grid for tonight's race is all but set and ready to rock and roll here tonight in the Kansas 200. As Carlos mentioned, this is the halfway point of the Chase playoffs. But let's kick off that starting grid. We got DJ Weeks in that 97 machine starting off in the pole position. Tom Ogle right there in the 83 is going to roll off second. Josh Robinson in that 30. We know Josh is really coming on strong here in these playoffs. John DeBarro is going to roll off fourth here tonight. Seth Rawls in fifth. Andrew Hess in sixth. David Westergreen, we just spoke about him last week. Talladega was really strong there, and that 22 machine is going to roll off 7th here tonight. Dallas Mahan out of Shift Esports is going to roll off 8th, and our points leader is going to roll off 9th, and Barrett Paul-Hemus in that 79. Then Ty McIntosh in that 10 machine is going to roll off 10th. 10 and 10 right there, Carlos. Must be a lucky number right there for Ty. And then Nick Indelicato, the man that's really dominated all season long here in the DSCR, is going to roll off 11th. Johnny Eckert, who had the fastest laps time last week at Talladega, is going to roll off 12th. And then Jake Busto is going to roll off 13th.
Yeah, congratulations to DJ Week for capturing a pole here in this season, which relatively seems kind of early, but we're already pretty late into the season. As I've realized that Ty McIntosh has once again forgotten to turn on his webcam, so I'm a little disappointed in that. But I want to take a look to see at the actual awards that the league kind of gives out. It's been a couple broadcasts since we've actually gone over them, but I believe they are right. Ooh. Okay, so never mind. I don't have. I normally have access to them, but I just had an issue with Discord and SDK and pretty much everything in my life right now. So for some reason, I can't actually see all the post race awards that have been given out. So we're gonna skip right on through that segment, and well, look at that, pace car is pulling out into the track now.
Yeah, the pace car is rolling our grid down the track right now at Kansas Speedway. Folks, here tonight, we're going to run stage 1 of 35 laps. Stage 2 is going to be 70. Then that last bit of racing is going to be a 64-lap shootout to the end for a completion of 134 laps here tonight. If you're unfamiliar with the DSCR, we don't break for the stage breaks. We just keep it on rolling. If there happens to be a caution there, that's when we'll break the action. But here in the DSCR, we just keep it rocking and rolling right through. We'll award some bonus points, some chase points, if you will. We'll make we'll moniker them on the grid to make sure you know who won those stages there. Here tonight, we're going to run with 3 sets of tires, 1 set on the race car and 3 sets in the garage for these drivers here tonight. And again, in the DSCR, there are no fast repairs, so you have to make sure to keep that car clean, keep it running up in the pack to make sure you have a shot at the end there, Carlos.
Yep, and I was able to find it. I want to congratulate DJ Weeks on his second pole of the season. This is pole number 2. I remember early in the season when everybody kept on getting a pole and we couldn't find a repeat one. That's changed now.
Yeah, a repeat pole winner for the first time this season, as we're halfway.
No, it's not the first time this season.
Here in the
Sorry to cut you off. It's not the first time this season. We went the first couple of races without a repeat, and then Ming Hong just started getting poles left and right. But all right, already first 2 sets of corners in lap number 1. And the leader has kind of moved on single file. DJ Weeks, Tom Ogle in first and second. And then it's kind of a brawl. The 30 car gets a little contact and it might be going around.
Yeah, right now as DJ Weeks in that 97 is going to take us around the last corner. He's going to officially lead the first lap here in the Kansas 200 here, the third race of the Chase playoffs. That's Josh Robinson in that third. Had early troubles right now as we dig down into corner number 1. He's trying to get his pace back there in that 30 machine. Josh just had an incredible season, kind of overshadowed by the success of Barrett Paul-Hemus and Nick Indelicato, but a good driver all the less there. We see right now DJ Weeks is still holding that lead down right there. He's got Tom Ogle right behind him, Seth Ross, as well as our points leader Barrett Paul-Hemus. They're trying to roll in DJ Weeks. So we come off of corner number 4 to complete 2 laps right now. 3 laps.
And here's the replay playing on right now. Contact from the 22 of Westergreen into 3 and 4. Got the 30 loosey-goosey throughout the middle of the corners. Did a fantastic job to not spin it out and or bring out a caution, but that did send them all the way down to the field and is now currently in last place.
Yeah, right now we're 3 laps into this race. DJ Weeks seems to have the speed right now. A few of the drivers are testing out different lines to start off this race. We're seeing low side, we're seeing high side, middle of the track right now. DJ Weeks is going to take us across that start-finish line down into corner number 1. Still our race leader. It's getting a little dicey though behind Seth Ross right there, Carlos.
Yeah, we don't have that many drivers out on track right now, but the drivers that are on track are very committed drivers who are usually running near the front and race cleanly and hardly. So we're seeing these guys battle side by side. They're kind of racing each other like as if it's 4 to go, but they're still racing each other cleanly. Of course, there was a little bit of contact between the 22 and the 30. Accidental, of course, no need for anybody to think that that was intentional. But we're seeing these drivers kind of get close to each other, battle side by side, and with the exception of the 30 and the 22, they're running cleanly as 25 and 97 battling side by side for the race lead.
And right now we see Seth Ross is trying to get that lead away from DJ Weeks. He's going to go to the inside there in that Shift Esports number 25 machine. He's going to take that position right there on the apex of the corner. Wisely slides up the track though. Not going to be enough to hold off DJ Weeks as he's back right back into the mix. Not going to be enough though as Seth Ross is going to close him off going down to corner number 1. DJ is going to go low side there on corner number 1. He's got a lot of people behind him pushing him along as we come off of 1. It's going to be a drag race.
Yeah, these drivers have flipped the position that they were in a couple of laps ago with the 25 being on the inside, 97 on the outside, and now that's swapped. 25 on the outside, 97 of DJ Weeks on the inside, and that momentum goes back to DJ Weeks. It seems like, at least early on, Will, that the inside line on fresh tires appears to be a really good use of momentum compared to the outside line, but I do believe that as the tires kind of wear on, whoever's on the outside line is going to pretty much be in control of that position.
Yeah, and you see DJ Weeks now back as our race leader there in that number 97 machine. Tom Ogle, though, is going to go to the inside as Seth Ross. Seth seems to make that top side lane a little bit more his. He likes that speed there on the top side, although he's losing a little bit of speed there to Tom Ogle. They're now drag racing. We're almost 3 wide for the lead, heading down into corner number 1. We are 3 wide right there for just a split second as DJ Weeks is going to go to the low side again. Tom Ogle is going to follow. We're still side by side on the exit of 1.
Yep. A lot of these drivers battling side by side. The momentum and the draft appears to be helping a lot of them here early in the night. I actually want to take a look and see if the weather might be doing something. And I got to say, that's pretty cold. That's like to see if it's snowing over here in Miami.
Right, we don't have any winter season here in Florida, Carlos. I can attest to that. It just goes from hot to a little less hotter down here in Florida. We got to spend Christmas Day out on the beach here down in Florida right now. But in Kansas, it would probably be a little cold out there on the racetrack as we're in the month of November. It's probably snowing there in Kansas if I had to guess. But Seth Ross, though, on that top side lane has a lot of speed right there. Has John DeBarro right behind him, pushing him along, using that next-gen draft to kind of push him along that top side. As now it looks like DJ Weeks is going to get reshuffled there in the mix. He's going to lose some positions to that top side lane.
Interesting to see the majority of the drivers have elected to kind of run the outside. It's almost like as if we're seeing a mini Daytona Talladega, only in the corners so far, with all the drivers kind of on the outside, kind of running kind of right in front of each other, and the drivers on the inside kind of in front of each other. It's the 29, the 4 kind of tapped the wall as the 4 kind of does a little monkey see, monkey do action as seeing the 29 slightly tap the wall. He's going to be, I'll do it as well, and taps the wall as well. Lost the position for both of those drivers, and they're going 3 wide. 79, 90, and 29 all the way into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, we're 3 wide right now, and the name that I'm keeping an eye out for is, of course, Nick and Delicato in that 4. The 79 of Barrett Polhemus. You have to remember, folks, we're on the halfway point of these Chase playoffs right now. So if Barrett Polhemus can get another win underneath his belt, or on the flip side of that, if Nick and Delicato can pick up the win here tonight, oof, as we're getting very, very close there on the exit of 4. Nick and Delicato, though, is going to get reshuffled all the way down to the 9th position. He's got some traffic to have to deal with as we dig down into corner number 1.
Yeah, Nick and Delicato hit the wall a couple laps ago after watching the 29 kind of do the same thing. Of course, the 4 kind of got the worst end of the deal. Got stuck up against the wall longer, lost a lot more momentum, and lost a lot more spots. Oh, and he's in the wall again! That's something that these drivers cannot continue to do. If it was the last build, then maybe. But, well, with this build, these cars have that progressive damage, or I don't think that's the word, accumulating damage model now. So you can't keep scraping that wall forever and hoping it's gonna last, because that's gonna be different nowadays.
And speaking of accumulating damage there, could you think that the accumulating, let's say bad
Oh,
finishes
29 in the
for
wall
Floor
again.
Machine, I only say bad because we saw Nick and Delicato win so many times this season, Carlos. Do you think that these discouraging and these lackluster finishes for that Floor Machine could be getting to him a little bit here in these chase playoffs?
It's possible. Last week was a fluke, because it's Talladega. It's not really, you're not really gonna underperform there. He was running in the top 10 of the race, got caught up in a last lap incident that sent him from inside the top 10 to, I believe, 18th or 17th when the race was over. So it was an unfortunate finish as the 29 makes contact with the Kevin Harvick looking machine. I actually can't. That might be the 61 of John DeBarro. No, yeah, 61 with John DeBarro. They both keep it nice and straight though, so no problem there. But I was gonna say last week you can't really call that an underperforming issue or whatever. That was just really bad. What was it? Case of I forgot what it was called. It's you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's what it is. Got caught up in that incident the week before though. That was different. You know, he didn't have the race that he wanted to have, and didn't have that for the majority of the race. Was caught a couple laps down very early on and just was never able to recover. So it's interesting to see, you know, with a horrible start to the chase and a horrible start to this race so far for the four, who even though he did qualify 11th, is just not really been running up to his normal speed, normal style, as he's in the wall again. So definitely not what he wants to do. But it's still very early on. He could just he can figure this out. You know, stage is about to we're halfway done with the stage, or we're gonna be halfway done with stage number 1. You know, get all 35 laps under your belt, figure it out, repair what damage may be there, because I think I'm seeing some quarter panel damage at this point. Get it together and then just come in stage 2 as caution's out. Somebody's wrecking. That is my hand, the 29.
Yeah, first caution of the night is now out on the Kansas 200 here live on 3 Wide TV. That was my hand out of Shifty Esports. Going to be the first car into the wall right there in that 29 machine as we check out this 3 Wide TV replay.
Ooh, I wonder if he gave it a little too much beans exiting the corner, or if he got some help from the 61. Remember, the 29 and the 61 made contact less than 5 minutes ago, maybe even a couple laps ago. So I'm curious to see if he got some help, or if that was just the 29 just pushing it too hard at the exit of the corner. I think that was the 29 just pushing it too hard. Yeah, giving it too much beans.
Yeah, got a little bit too overly aggressive there on that gas pedal on the exit of the corner. And we see, right, I don't think he's going to take too much damage there. Carlos could get that 29 machine back up and running here. Although it looks like he did get a little bit of a tap there on the exit of the corner.
He gave the wall 2 taps after he got loose on the right rear quarter panel and the right front quarter panel as well, on both sides of the right front. So he should be okay overall. These cars are tough, and the drivers don't have to worry about real life issues. But I believe Kynan's here to talk about the drivers going down pit road right now.
Yeah, thank you, Carlos. Everyone deciding to come down pit road, some going to, from what I had experienced when talking with some of the drivers beforehand, mainly with the shift guys, they wanted to stay out long for the points, but then there's some drivers that were already thinking about the end of the race. Some drivers that run alone were only experiencing 0.8 fall off, but then others were starting to experience over a second and a half fall off. So many different strategies on some drivers deciding to come in and take 4 tires, but some also deciding to take none and just take fuel. So it's going to be interesting to see how it starts to unfold with new tires starting to come through the field and some tires having to defend on old, but they're going to have that extra set towards the end of the race.
All right, thank you, Kynan. And Kynan, thank you so much for joining us here tonight and being the pit race reporter. I know you've been working on doing as well, commentating on your end as well. So, where can we sometimes find you in your normal commentating schedules?
So you can normally find me and Will over at 10-4 Broadcasting. We just finished up Virtual Racing Association, which happened yesterday, so they're going on a bit of an off break, but in a couple days on Fridays you can catch me and I believe Will again for the High Octane Sim series over on 10-4 Broadcasting on YouTube.
I've also done some commentating work on it. We've done it together at one time as well. So that's going to be fun. And congratulations on wrapping up a season. And we look forward to hearing from you again, possibly in a little bit once you have some more information about what these drivers are planning on doing tonight. So thank you so much for all the help you're going to be doing here.
Yeah, no issue, but I believe we should be getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing, so I'll leave it back up to you two in the booth.
Thank you so much. Well, we've gone 15 already, 17 so laps. We're going to be restarting with less than 15 to go, I believe. What have you seen so far? Yeah, what have you seen so far, and what are you liking?
What I'm liking so far is the aggressiveness of these drivers here tonight. You mentioned it to start off this broadcast. These drivers are racing like it's the last lap here, as now we see the pace car pull off. We're about to go green flag racing here once again in the Kansas 200. These drivers know this is the halfway point in the chase standings as the green flag is in the air. Seth Raw is going to take us across the line down to corner number 1.
Yeah, no issues at all in the first start of the race. No issues in the first restart of the race, as we got 15 laps to go here before stage 1 ends, and it's been an interesting stage 1 so far. Lots of hard racing, a couple of mistakes from some drivers, but nothing to really be concerned about. And I look forward to seeing these guys kind of going all out here for these last couple laps.
Yeah, but you look at that number 90 machine of Johnny Eckert. Johnny wants to get that machine in victory lane. He is tired of winning the fastest lap awards out on the track. He wants to lead the final lap on the racetrack. It's all cool and dandy to have those awards, to be recognized for what you do on the track, but if you don't have the wins to match up for it, is now Johnny Eckert sliding the wall like Ross Chastain on that top side, coming off a 2.
More like Carl Edwards on that top side. He lost a ton of time there that time and went from 4th, and it's not going to lose 4 spots down into 8th and possibly going to lose more. This is exactly what we've been seeing out of Johnny Eckert. Did he hit the wall again?
Oof. I don't know. It's getting a little dicey in front of him there. It looks like David Westergreen in that 22 is trying to get around John DeBarro, and he's just right up that back bumper. And Johnny actually had to check up to what was happening in front of him there. And Johnny had to check up, lose a lot more speed there. As now you see David Westergreen has a ton of speed in that 22. He just doesn't know where to put that thing. He's going so fast.
Yeah, 22's been fast all night. We saw him make contact with 30 on lap number 1. 30 still in last place so far, but that's not really going to be a concern so far. He didn't have any damage. He's possibly just riding there for right now. But 22 fast, the 29's fast, the 4 is fast, the 30 was sorry, not the 4, the 90 is fast, although I'm sure the 4 will probably be fast before this race is over. Speaking about Johnny Eckert, this is exactly what we've been seeing out of him in this league only. Johnny Eckert is definitely a championship favorite, definitely some guy that if you put him up in 4 leagues, he's probably going to win 3 of the 4 championships there. So very strange to see Johnny Eckert struggling, but in this league only, it's like as if he's a 60 rating driver overall. He's got the speed. You saw right there, he's picked up a lot of fastest laps of the race, and actually I want to see how many lap leader awards he has, and he actually has the most. He's got 5 fastest laps of the race awards. So the next closest is John DeBarro and Nick Delicato with 2 each. So he's definitely has speed. He's just been struggling. He's been Mr. Inconsistent in this league only. And what we saw right there, he was running 4th, hit the wall, and actually wall right that whole way through, and lost all those spots. So Johnny Eckert, he's at this point a dark horse to win the championship, but he's got to work on his consistency in this league.
Yeah, he's definitely going to work on that. But you see right now, Johnny's having to work through the traffic just a little bit. A lot of cars he has to work through to put that number 90 in contention here tonight. But Carlos, I think it might be time to cue up the Imperial March, because here comes Darth Vader in that number 79 machine. He is right on the tail of DJ Weeks. He has found that speed once again. Here he comes, ladies and gentlemen. Darth Vader, he won last week at Talladega. Trying to make it back-to-back wins here tonight, especially with Nick Delicado down in the 10th position. Can really pad that points lead.
Remember, Will, Paul Hemus won this chase opener, and he won Talladega in week number 2. So he's a back-to-back winner already. He's looking to make it 3 in a row.
Ooh, turkey dinner.
And, well, ever since we started talking about the dark side and the light side, we've been seeing nothing but these drivers making their way up right now. And I don't believe Paul Hemus, his teammate slash nemesis slash buddy is actually on track tonight. But we do have another black and blue car next. Well, that was next to him. I wonder if he got a bad corner because DJ Weeks went from being right behind that number 79 to being kind of in 4th right now.
But yeah, Darth Vader better get that TIE Fighter going at full speed right now because David Westergreen has that speed running here tonight as Kansas, as he is now our race leader heading down into corner number 3. We were just talking about how fast that 22 machine was.
Whoa.
He couldn't find places for it. He had so much speed in that 22 machine. Now he's found a place for it, and that's on top of the grid here as we're going to cross this line here on lap 30.
Johnny Eckert's having issues right now. Not sure what happened, but it seems like he hit the wall hard and then almost ran into the 4 car. Delicado has now dropped into last place as Johnny Eckert's woes continue to get woeier as the chase continues to progress. 30 laps into this young race, but good for him, good for the 4 Delicado, good for the 30, although he's been making his way up front now as the 90's on the wall one more time. Is that stage 1 is about 5-6 laps from being over, and everybody can get a chance to take a breather, relax, repair whatever damage, and go and attack in stage number 2.
Yeah, right now we're still keeping an eye out on our leader, David Westergreen, but there goes Barrett Polhemus to the inside right there. He's going to use that white line as a tracking beam to try to track down David Westergreen. Not going to be enough coming off of corner number 2 right there. Going to follow right behind the 22 machine down into corner number 3 right there. He's going to try the inside lane once again as now Tom Ogle wants to join the party up at the top. But here we go. There's more speed up there as well as now Dallas Mayan has worked that 29 machine back inside the top 5. We have a single file line forming there, Carlos, down into corner number 1.
Yeah, all these drivers are very close to each other in speed and also how close they are on track. So any one of these drivers makes a mistake, and all of these drivers could potentially be involved in an incident. But I'm sure everybody out here is pressing the L2 button to intimidate on that 22 machine because they all want to win stage 1 and get the most amount of points. Because everybody in here but my hand is a chase driver. So we only have 2 non-chase drivers on the field. So you're gonna be you can't have these non-chase drivers finish ahead of you. That's you're just wasting or you're leaving money on the table in that situation.
Essentially, yes, David Westergren is going to take us down to corner number 3 here on lap 33. Just a couple laps left here in stage number 1. As now Barrett Polhemus is going to try to the inside of David Westergren in that 22. Barrett Polhemus is still to the inside right there, and you see if he can get around. There he is. Ooh, big move out of Barrett Polhemus to swing that 79 in front of David Westergren. But here he comes once again.
I wonder if Paul Hemus has an actual real-life spotter spotting for him, because I would never have the confidence to make that move with the iRacing spotter, even with like the tightest setting enabled, because that was picked so perfect as a 22 is on the outside wall.
Yes, now Barrett Polhemus is going to cross the line here on lap 35. This is the last lap of stage number 1. Next time across that line, he'll officially be our stage 1 winner, as Tom Ogle now has overtaken that 2nd place position from David Westergreen. Now we're going to see if that 22 is going to slow down just a little bit with that damage. Now Dallas Mahan's right on the back bumper of that 22. Going to try to the inside right here on corner number 3. Looks like Dallas Mahan's now back into the mix from an early mistake in the race. He's got that thing locked back in right now. He's side by side with David Westergreen across that line, as Barrett Polhemus is going to win stage number 1 here at Kansas.
Yeah, Tom Ogle 2nd, Mahan 3rd, Westergreen, Weeks, Robinson, Hess, Rawls, and McIntosh all leaving money on the table by having Mahan finish ahead of them. Then Busto is going to get the last, the 1 point for finishing 10th, with DeBarro and Delicado and Eckert all leaving double the money on the table, especially DeBarro, who failed to get 1 point there. because Bustos finished ahead of him. So remember, driver's caution is not coming out. So actually, Will, why don't you go ahead and take it away for a little bit while I set up the graphics to display the stage 1 winner.
Yeah, as Barrett Bohemian is still leading there in that 79 machine. You have Tom Ogle in second. Looking further down the grid right there, ladies and gentlemen, the guy who's in second on that points table, just I'd say about 13, 14 points away from our points leader, Nick Indelicato, is all the way down in the 12th position, about 14 seconds off the pace. So a huge shakeup here tonight as Kansas, as Barrett Bohemus is taking us across that line once again here on lap 37. Make it 38 going down into corner number 1. Barrett Bohemus is still leading that machine. As we come off of two, things have seemed to fan out just a little bit now. Barrett Bohemus, our race leader, Tom Ogle in second. Dallas Mahan, we mentioned, is not a playoff driver, racing out of Shift Esports there, but it'd still be a huge victory if that 29 can either finish on the podium or in victory lane. That'd be a great win for Shift Esports here in the DSCR. They have a few cars in the mix here in this series. For Dallas Mahan, he would love to win here. He races in the Oscar series there on Thursday nights, but here in the DSCR didn't really have the success that he has in other series in this league here. But to get a win to close out the season, Carlos, that would be a huge momentum booster.
It would indeed, and I just realized I completely forgot because I got so many things going on and so many tech issues I've been trying to fix. I kept on implying that a caution would be coming out at the end of stage 2, and I kept on saying that these drivers need to make it to stage 1 and then relax. I guess it slipped my mind because there's no caution, as I mentioned. So these drivers are going no guaranteed caution. We already had the 1, and that one should have been it for the 30. And I gotta say, the 30 did use that caution to benefit him. He's now moved up into 6th place, did get stage points. But Indelicato and Eckert haven't really been able to kind of cool themselves down and are currently running in penultimate and last place respectively. So no cautions guaranteed to come out, but that could also mean green flag pit stops could be happening. I'm not quite sure soon. I don't know if our in-race reporter has maybe an estimate of how many laps they can go. Kynan, do you have anything like that?
Yeah, luckily, from what the drivers had told me, their rough estimate was around 40 to 45 laps, but one driver that's going to be wanting to maybe think about pitting a little bit sooner, the 90 of Johnny Eckert. I've been watching him for the past about 8 laps now, and he's been very loose, so I'd expect Johnny Eckert to be one of the first cars to be able to come in and get some 4 new tyres on. But the first driver that I really started to see slipping around was the 25, who just lost a position to the 10. And has lost another position to the 74, so something may be going on. Just see if I can get caught up on what may be going on. But 25 and the 90 seem to be the biggest drivers struggling with keeping the rear end under control.
From what you've seen and possibly asked around, how important is tire going to be for this race overall?
Unfortunately, that was one bit of information I wasn't able to get out, but from what I've seen, just watching the timings, drivers are running about anywhere from 1.5 to 2 to even 2.2 seconds slower, so tires are going to be a big benefit if you can get them on. I found that the real big tire fall-off was starting to fall around 10 laps into the run.
All right, thank you so much, Kynan, and I wish you good luck in trying to keep track of who's taking tires and who's not, because there is a tire limit. And Will, I believe, can you let me know what was that tire limit again?
Yeah, we have 3 sets in the garage, and these drivers started with 1 set on these machines here tonight. But as we were speaking with Kynan there, we almost had a battle for the lead. Tom Ogle seemed to find a little bit of a pace right there with the 79. He's right on that back bumper as we cross the line here on lap 45, digging down into 1. Tom Ogle, though, is really trying to get around Barrett Bohemus here at 79. But as Kynan mentioned, even though we might have a battle for the lead right now, these drivers are going to start thinking about heading down pit road.
Yeah, we went down pit road on lap 15. So at this point, they've kind of been running for about 25 laps. No, hold on. My math is not right. If they went down on lap 15, it'd be 20 laps. So they've been running on about 20 laps. Kynan said they can make it about 45 or so laps. So we're probably about just under halfway through a green flag run. But what's happening in about 25 laps is 40, 50, 60 plus 5, that's 70. That's when stage 2 ends. So now we may possibly have a situation where green flag pit stops may be happening as stage 2 ends. And that could be problematic in what some of these drivers who are close to the top of the standings are how they're going to adjust their strategy for that. Because if you can make it possibly to the end of stage 2 and get those bonus points, do you think that's something you would do, or would you just try to set yourself up for stage 3?
Well, talking about setting yourself up, looks like Tom Ogle is about to set himself up for the lead. He's going to lose a little bit of a pace right there, Carlos. But, you know, going back to your point there, setting yourself up for the final bit of the race, I think you want to time it just right. We see a lot of strategy here in the DSCR. A lot of the drivers implement different strategies. A few of the drivers pit early in the window. Some of the drivers push the envelope there. Some drivers wait till the caution comes out. Here tonight, we're going to run it down to lap 70 by the end of stage number 2. And then we're going to race it down to lap 134. So another about 64 laps there to end the race at the end of stage number 2. But for a driver like Barrett Polhemus there, Carlos, I would think you want to stay out, get those bonus points for lap 70, try to stay out in the lead as long as you can. But wrap up all the stage points, all the bonus points. You know, you might not win the race here at Kansas by doing that strategy, but you're going to that third race, or the second to last race of the Chase playoffs. A lot of bonus points, and you're going to pad that lead from Nick Delicato, who's all the way down in the 12th position here tonight.
Yeah, interesting to see the 40 and the 90 just constantly running last, and of course last in this case being 12 and 13. So once again, not too many drivers participating here tonight, as I'm going to switch it over to actual last lap speed and not best lap overall in the top ticker that's been going around. So interesting, as we're starting lap number 50 right now. So 49 laps have been completed, and we're 21 laps away from finishing stage 1. And we're possibly 21 laps away from green flag pit stops, which I'm sure when that's happening, kind of going to be jumping on in here and letting us know who's going to be going down pit road and all of that jazz. Actually, I think somebody is in pit road right now, and it's Nick and Delicato. Kynan, what are you seeing over there? What's going on?
I had just came back from tuning in with Johnny Eckert, who was saying he was coming in, but there was a little bit of an incident where Johnny had gone loose in front of Indelcato, and Indelcato then coming in, having not taken tires on the original stop, is designed to be the first car to come in. The 22 was also going to be coming in next time around, but seems like it should be a fairly straightforward 4-tire stop for the number 4.
Oh yeah, lots of drivers down pit road. Ty McIntosh, who's down there right now?
So there's the 10 of Time McIntosh, the 61, the 90 of Johnny Eckert, and the 25 of Seth Rolls. So the drivers that I'd seen having the most issues keeping the rear tires under them. Who Johnny Eckert has also slid through his pit box ever so slightly.
We've seen him doing that a couple of times this season. Not too many times. We've seen a couple of drivers do that, but definitely harsh. But actually, kind of that really helps me understand the struggles that Nick and Delicato has been going on through. I did not know that he did not take tires that first stop as well. That kind of explains why he's been struggling a little bit in this run. Well, not a little bit, why he's been struggling pretty harshly in this run so far. And the fact that he's saving a set of tires for the end, that's a risky strategy for a person who no longer has that big cushion of a points lead.
Yeah,
yeah,
but for
when...
Nick... Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just going to quickly say, when you are then forced into that situation, sometimes a bit of a strategy gamble can be the way to go. But the drivers that did take tires on that initial stop, the 22 of David Westergreen, the 79 of Barrett, the 83 of Ogle, DJ in the 97, and Dallas in the 29.
Thank you so much. Will, what were you trying to say?
Yeah, talking about Nick and Delicato, we've seen this all season long, though, out of that Ford machine. He waits until that very last, so here, like tonight, we're going to run 64 laps to close out this race. He's a last quarter of the race driver. We've seen it all season long out of Nick. It's the reason why he's picked up so many victories on the season. But Carlos, you bring up a great point there. You know, in a race where his points lead, he doesn't have a points lead anymore. Now he's 12 points away from the points lead. You got Barrett Polhemus, who won stage number 1. It looks like he's going to cruise to stage number 2 if he can hold off Tom Ogle here. It's quite a battle we have for the lead. But for Nick and Delicato, though, now a lap down here tonight at Kansas, I think you need to start trying to think about different strategies, try to get that Ford machine back up into the lead pack. Because yes, you could win the race here tonight, and that would be huge, Carlos. It would be huge for the Ford machine to get back on track, get that confidence, get that momentum rolling into the second to the last race of the season. But with Barrett Polhemus leading as many laps as he has, he might even win stage number 2. He's not going to overtake the points lead even with a win here tonight. I'm speaking of Nick and Delicato, so it's time now here on lap 56 to start thinking about how maybe you can get that Ford machine out front, get some points, lead some laps, and maybe win this race here at the end.
Yeah, definitely. Nick and Delicato's strategy, at least for that, is for sure on the high risk, high reward category. But it's just something that I don't feel like I would be comfortable with doing. We only have 13 drivers here running tonight, and these are some of the best 13 drivers that the league has. They're drivers who show up and compete week in and week out. So choosing that on a very comfortable track for a lot of these guys. And hoping that there's a last minute caution with you having the last set of tires is very, very low. But if it works out, he's going to be seen as a I was about to say interesting fella. No, I meant to say what's it called, a big brain move, grande cabeza, and all that type of stuff. But if it doesn't work out, he's going to be finishing outside the top 10 guaranteed.
Yeah, as we're watching more drivers head down pit road, and we'll cut to you, Conan, our pit road reporter. What are the drivers thinking about taking right now?
Right now, with the stage 2 being just over the horizon, it's going to be a low risk on the tires. You're going to want to just take 4 tires, top up on fuel, and then those drivers who took those initial set of tires on that initial caution are going to now only have 1 extra set, so they're going to have to be very careful towards the end of the race.
Yeah, as we're starting to see some of these leaders head down pit road. Conan, for these leaders that are heading down, and the guys that are going to basically reshuffle, that includes Nick and Delicato, Seth Ross, and Johnny Eckerd. How long do you think that it's going to take these leaders that are head down pit road now to get that speed back up?
Well, you typically only take about half a lap to get up to racing speed, but then the car behind is going to be carrying a lot more momentum, so they're going to be trying to hug the outside, trying to find a way past as you're trying to just get up to speed, and you typically don't find yourself fully up to speed until you start getting around the start-finish line. So you may think that you come out, say, in 3rd position, but the car that's in 4th will carry a lot more speed, and if they're close enough, they're going to be trying to get you going into turn 3 and maybe on the exit.
Yeah, with 10 laps to go here in stage number 2. Got to watch out for that reshuffling that's going to take place here on the grid. Right now, Barrett Polhemus is still our race leader on the track. Him and Jake Bustos are the only drivers that haven't pit here in this window. So it's kind of a bold strategy there, Carlos, out of the 79 machine to stay out. Do you think maybe it's going to be a very tight window? We'll see if the 79 heads down here next time by. Do you think that Barrett's thinking about pushing it to the end of the stage to get those bonus points? Or do you think that maybe he's just calculating when he can head down pit road?
I think he would be. I'm not sure if I would also agree with that strategy, but I think if he stays out long enough, it could be one of those things where it could work out in his favor, that he saved enough laps. Because I honestly wasn't expecting these drivers to go down pit road so quickly. I guess maybe it wasn't really as egregious as I expected. I was expecting like a 40 lap run, and I think we went 35 laps, or I should say 45 lap run. So I was a bit confused seeing all these drivers going down pit road, and the fact that only 2 people have stayed out, the 79 and the 74. So I actually don't know if he's going to try to make it to lap 70, but at this point, if he wants to get that stage 2 win, he kind of has to stay out till past lap 70, because if he goes down pit road right now, he's lost so much time. I wouldn't be surprised if he's outside the top 5 by the time he merges back on the track.
Yeah, and essentially right now, Barrett Palamas has lapped the field. Jake Bustos, the only car left on the lead lap, and he is 21 seconds off the pace right now here on lap 63 as we're going to watch a battle taking place right here. This is for a position on the track, heading down the backstretch right now, but we're watching right now in the mix of drivers. We've seen two non-playoff drivers, Jake Bustos and Dallas Myhan, second and third right there on the grid, waiting for this reshuffle to happen. Once Barrett Palamas heads down pit road, we're going to see a lot of these drivers get their laps back. But what's surprising to me, though, Carlos, looking at this grid right now here on lap 64, as we're seeing Barrett Palamas right there in that 79, is going to head down pit road here on lap 64, so just not going to have enough to complete the stage. And kind of we'll cut to you here once again for Barrett heading down pit road. How much of a challenge is it to get this car back up to speed to maybe win the stage?
Well, when you come in, you're going to be getting off some very old tires. His last time by, which isn't going to be exact just because of where the timing line is. But his last time by was a 45 seconds run, but once again, you have to be a little bit cautious on that just because of the time to get down pit road, but you typically sit in the pits for around 41 seconds, unless you're the 9061 N10, which all had over a minute and a half sitting in the pits, so disaster for them. But when you're coming down, you get new tires on, you have to be very careful not to overuse them and just use too much beans and suddenly lose the rear end from having the tires not up to temperature. So give it a couple laps for the tire temps to build up, and then you can start pushing a little bit harder.
Yeah, now we see that 79 machine. Go ahead, Carlos.
No, I actually wanted to. I want to bring up what you mentioned. What did happen with the 90, 61, and 10? Because I'm seeing all the ones that went down pit road being one lap down, and then I see Eckert, DeBarro, and then McIntosh being 2 and 3 laps down in that order. So I'm trying to figure out that something happened specifically to McIntosh because he was 3 laps down. I'm looking at the pit lane time or the pit road time, and I think I may know what happened, but kind of what have you seen?
Well, the only thing that I can really guess is maybe they just or accidentally sped in pit road, and then that's iRacing is then giving them a penalty. I haven't really seen them have to serve damage, so that's really the only thing that I can figure it is.
Yeah, that's also the same thing I'm kind of gathering because I'm seeing 57, 55, and then I think with Ty McIntosh, maybe he did have to repair damage because he was there for a minute and a half, or at least 5 seconds shy of a minute and a half as Bustos down in pit road. That's gonna complete the green flag stop, and kind of with the strategy kind of split into one main pack and then a smaller pack. What are you seeing as to when the next set of drivers are gonna be going down pit road?
So the first drivers that you're really going to be looking at going down pit road is Nick Indelicado, Seth Rolls, and if you look a little bit further back, which you can't really fully count just because of being lapped down, Johnny Eckert, the 61 and the 10, but they had pitted 10 laps sooner than really the rest of the field, so you can expect them to come in about 10 laps sooner than everyone, but they will also have that extra set of tires to take them towards the end. But what these drivers are going to be wanting is a late run caution, but what the rest of the field don't want is that late run caution, so a lot of things can still shape up here at Kansas.
Yeah, thank you so much.
As we're...
No, that's it. Yeah, go.
No, I was going to say, as we're about to wrap up stage number 2 right now, as Dallas Myhan and that 29 machine is going to be on top of the grid here with 2 laps to go here in stage number 2. Be a big stage win for that 29 machine who had early issues as he digs down into corner number 1. Has Tom Ogle right behind him. Tom Ogle's going to have to find some speed as we come off of corner number 2 to go ahead and get this stage win. Doesn't look like he's going to find that speed down the back stretch, although it looks like he's pulling him in as we head down corner number 3 to the apex of 3 and 4. Still going to be Dallas Myhan leading us off of 4.
Yeah, exiting 4, Dallas Myhan, the semi-retired iRacing driver, comes in here and regularly competes with some drivers, mostly as a fill-in driver in some leagues. So comes here and wins stage number 2. As I must have at some point switched on over to Tom Ogle, so I do apologize there to Myhan, who actually, whoa, when did Tom Ogle get to be right behind Myhan? Well, what have I been missing?
Yeah. Tom Ogo's definitely found some speed. Ran a 31.66 last time by. Best lap so far for him is a 31.10. Ran a 31.6 last time. Fastest car on the racetrack with the exception of Barrett Paul-Hemus, who has the freshest set of tires on that 79 machine. So Tom Ogle definitely has the speed right now. We saw him battling out with that 79 machine for the longest time. Couldn't get around him, and he just passes Dallas Mayan with ease right there on the entry of 3.
Went down all the way to the inside like we saw at the start of the race. No problem whatsoever. Nice, clean, and just moving on. As that inside line with fresh tires appears to be very dominant for a lot of these drivers. As well, we're back to having a chase driver back in the front of the field. As if you're Weeks, Robinson, Hess, and Westergreen, you really can't be finishing behind this non-chase driver of Dallas Mayan. And well, at this point, for some of these drivers, they're going to need a caution, especially Paul Hemus if he wants to become a 3-time in a row winner.
Yes, Tom Ogle's going to take us across the line right now. Tom Ogle is currently 3rd in those chase playoff standings, 42 points out of the lead right there. Of course, that 79 machine of Barrett Paul-Hemus is our points leader on that table. But with the run that Nick and Delicato is having here tonight, not his best effort here at Kansas to say the least, and I say that with the most utmost respect for that Ford machine based on the amount of wins he has this season so far in the DSCR. If Tom Ogle get this race victory here tonight, that would put him right on the heels of Nick and Delicato for 2nd on those point standings. Barrett Williams would probably still hold on to that points lead even if he doesn't win here tonight. But we're talking about maybe a 3-car battle heading into the second to last race of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one overall. With the points battle being very close this late into or halfway point into the chase run. But seeing Tom Ogle constantly dropping fast lap after fast lap, as I want to take a look and compare the lap times compared. Well, we see Josh Robinson, who does have fresher tires, but only by 1 lap, has constantly been outpacing Tom Ogle with the exception of this last lap. So might we be seeing another driver take that 2nd place spot? And he actually does right now, passes Mayan, who I believe just might have hit the wall once again. Is Josh Robinson now under 1 second behind Tom Ogle and running faster lap times to boot.
Yeah, and I tend to talk about Josh almost every broadcast I'm up here with you, Carlos. It's because Josh has really come on strong here in the DSCR. We saw him here in the beginning of the season not really have the races to really contend with Nick and Delicato or Barrett Paul-Hemus. Then all of a sudden, as the season started to hit that midway point, that 30 machine had another gear. I think it's because he had a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum for getting that alternate spot there in the Dash for Cash race. He finished 5th. He got the alternate spot, was able to race it out with those top guys. Found out, though, that he might have the speed to contend just a little bit. Got into these chase playoff standings with great runs to end out that regular season. Now here tonight, Carlos, to highlight him just a little bit. Remember, that 30 machine had early issues. It had to drop all the way down to about the tail end of this pack. Has now worked himself back up in the 2nd position. So my hat's off to that 30 machine here tonight, running one heck of a race here at Kansas.
Also, DJ Weeks has caught up to the back of Dallas Mayan and is trying to challenge into that 3rd place spot. Something he needs to get to make sure he doesn't stray too far from the points lead or from the gap into the points lead. However, once he caught up to him, he hasn't really quite been able to make that pass, as also the 74 Jake Bustos 1 lap down is in there to join the party.
Yeah, as we already have a few drivers, one of which Johnny Eckert there in that 90. We saw him come out with a lot of speed. We talked about how he's won a lot of the fastest lap awards here in the DSCR. Here tonight, scraped the wall a few times though, Carlos. It's kind of an unfamiliar territory for that 90 to have such early on struggles in the race. Here tonight though, a lap down right now, down in the 10th position. It's going to be a race to forget for Johnny Eckert, a driver that's really coming into this season or coming into these playoffs with a lot of confidence, though. And if he doesn't win the race here tonight, I'm sure we're going to see a strong effort out of him next week.
Yes, well said. As we're about to have, I believe, 54 laps remaining in this race. This race is going by very quickly. It doesn't seem like that long ago that we actually started racing. We haven't even been racing for We haven't even been racing for 50 minutes. I think we've only been racing for about 40, 46, sorry, 47 or so. No, 46 laps. Excuse me, minutes. Wow, oh, caution is out. Everything's thrown out the window.
Yeah, we have our second caution of the night right now as our race leader on the track, Tom Ogle, is starting to pad that lead just a little bit. It was almost to over a second lead there on Josh Robinson. Now we're going to bunch this field back up as we check out this 3Y TV replay to see what brought out a caution. That looks like Nick and Delicato down pit road.
No, I think he's been down pit road. Oh, 70 somebody. What a round.
Looks like a little bit further back there on the tail end of the pack. We had two cars get together there. Barrett Paul Hemus there in that 79. We'll take a look here once again. We'll see the 79 of Barrett Paul Hemus. Looks like Dallas Myhan's right there as well as, is that Seth Rawls there in the 25? That's going to clip the 79 of Barrett Paul Hemus?
I believe that might be it. Let's see if we can get a
Let's
different
take another
angle.
look at that here on the
let's see if we
3Y
can get a different
TV
angle.
replay. Because that's a huge, it doesn't look like Barrett's going to suffer any damage there. Let's see right there, the 25 is going to get to right to the corner panel there. Maybe just coming off of the corner a little bit too hot and heavy. Didn't see the 79 there on the middle lane. The 79 does a great job of getting on the brakes immediately. No damage to Barrett Paul Hemus there in that 79 machine. And that was a very, very well-timed save there for Barrett.
Yep, and Kynan, I believe, is joining us here. These drivers are not going down pit road.
Yeah, it's a bit of an unscheduled pit stop. A bunch of people were thinking about pitting around lap 90 to 100, deciding tires weren't going to really want to be stretched, but with this caution coming out where it has, are they going to be able to make it on fuel? The 29, who is running to an alternative strategy to the rest of the shift guys, was planning to pit around lap 105, but with this, it's a big difference from where he originally wanted to pit, but most drivers have decided to come in and take 4 tires. Seth Rolls sitting in pits taking some repairs, but Nick Delicato was the first to really start coming in pits, as we saw just before that replay had been brought up. He had a lot of issues coming into pit road, but he has decided to take it to the garage, and his night is now done.
Has there been a word as to why he's pulled it off?
That I have not been able to get just yet, so I can see if I can try get a bit of information.
Yeah, if you find any information, please be sure to let us know on that. Interesting to see Nick and Delicato retiring early here before the race is over, and we didn't, as far as we can tell, we didn't see any issues, so we're not sure if it's anything in real life that's preventing him from racing, or if he's frustrated and decided to call it a night, or whatever the case is. And so when we do find out, we'll let everybody here know what the case is on that. But Kynan, actually, is Kynan still here?
Yep, I'm still here.
Yeah. With these drivers going down pit road here, is it possible they can make it the rest of the way, or are we expecting them to possibly have one more set of green flag race or green flag pit stops?
Well, the number that I was given before the race had started was around 40 to 45 laps of fuel, but with this, some drivers may decide to stretch it, but if we get another caution, that entire strategy goes out the window. But with tires also being a bit of a consideration now, who has their last set, who doesn't now, so some drivers are probably going to try stretch it, but it's going to be very close.
Thank you so much. And I can look at all the drivers that have gone down pit road, and it doesn't tell me if they've all taken tires, but for sure the top 5 have gone down pit road 3 times, assuming that they took tires out every single time. That means that, well, I believe you said they only have 4 overall sets of tires. That would be it. They will not have another set of tires. But I do believe that maybe one of those times that they elected to not go down pit road, so it's entirely possible a lot of these drivers have just 1 set of tires in reserve. But this would have really worked out for Nick and Delicato, who, if his strategy was working fine, then he would have had 2 sets of tires in reserve. In the event that there's a last second caution, which still very unlikely, but kind of seems to be working his way so far.
Yeah, and speaking of Nick and Delicato, let's see if we can't get him on the radio here real quick before we go back. Green flag race.
Oh,
Looks
hold
like
on.
the pace lights are still on of that pace car there, Carlos, or are they
No,
off? 'Cause
the
I saw
the
some
pace lights are
cars head
off.
down
And
pit road there.
cars are headed down pit road, but the pace lights are off. We're going to be going green this time by. But also, Jones was talking to Nick and Delicato, getting word with him.
So the word is he had broken a toe link, so that is the reason why his night has been cut short.
Oh, real shame. Real shame indeed. And with this caution coming out, a lot of the drivers that did get trapped at lap down, some of them took a wave around. So right now, the only drivers not on the lead lap is Ty McIntosh, 1 lap down, and Nick and Delicato is currently out.
As we're going to race to this green flag that's going to wave here once again. We're going to go back. Green flag racing here in the Kansas 200. We're live on 3Y TV as Josh Robinson in that 30 machine is going to take us down into corner number 1.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy down through turns 1 and 2 for the first 2 drivers. Josh Robinson and Seth Rawls. No battles here for any of those 2. Any of those 3 actually, as that as my hand is kind of cleared. Barrett Balhemus and Tom Ogo as the 25 dips it down low to the inside of the 30 and is looking to take that race lead.
Yeah, Seth Rawls is trying to represent for Shift Esports now, our race leader on the track. He has a teammate follow him there in Dallas Myhan as he's going to be our race leader down to corner number 1 with Dallas Myhan in second in that 29 machine. Going to have to throw some blocks though on Tom Ogle, who's right back up there with a very fast race car here tonight as we're down the backstretch.
I'm trying to figure out just what happened to the race leader to be dropping so quickly, and I look to the side and I see that the first 2 drivers, they got around over 14 seconds of pit stop time, and then I'm looking at the rest of the field, including Josh Robinson, and he only went down to pit road to get fuel only. So that explains why some of these drivers were losing speed throughout the corner. I thought something was heavily going wrong at 30, but it just seems like this could have just been a method to save tires. At least save 1 more set of tires for the very end, because they will need to pit 1 more time.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. As we're seeing a battle take place right now on the racetrack as Dallas Myhan's trying to hold off Tom Ogle from his teammate Seth Rawls as we dig down into corner number 1 right now. You see Dallas still go to the top side right there. Might be making a move on his teammate there, Carlos, just a little bit. No, going to fall right back behind Seth Rawls, who's inadvertently the captain, I would say, of the Shift Esports team right there. Has done a great job with that stable of drivers. They raced about all week long there, Carlos. And I mentioned it last night on our VRA broadcast. They put in a lot of work, a lot of track time, a lot of practice, and they communicate there, Carlos. And I think it's why they're so successful in each series they run it.
Yeah, well said. A lot of these drivers practice day in and day out to kind of get the results that they need, and most of the time it does seem to work out for them. And please do excuse us, we do have a bit of an issue. We've lost our secondary feed, but we're still working and chugging along perfectly fine with our primary one. Once we do get that second one up and going, things are going to start getting back to a little bit, or things are going to start getting back to normal. But we're at 91 laps to go. That means we have 44 laps remaining, and I think at this point the window is open now. I'm sure you've talked around with some drivers. I don't know what they've told you, but are we expecting to see drivers going down pit road the moment the window's open, or staying out as late as they can, or maybe somewhere in between?
Well, what I had experienced, especially with the 83 and the 30, both had decided that they originally wanted to pit around lap 90 to 100, so they're in their optimum pit window, but after getting that caution, it seems like a bit of a waste to now come in now after having taken tires. But if you didn't take tires like the 83 did at last time, it might be worth coming in and just doing it. But with tires being a big factor, what happens if you come in, take an extra set now, maybe you forgot to untick them earlier on, then you have a late caution, say within 10 laps, that's within the region on tire fall-off. What do you do then? Plenty of little strategies going on, but right now, Seth has been able to take full advantage of it.
Thank you so much. Johnny Eckert is down in pit road, as you mentioned, as one of the drivers. So pit stops are starting to take form, or at least with the 90, they're starting to take form. Wouldn't surprise me, as kind of mentioned. Oh no, Eckert slid it all the way, and did he not only go too far in the stop, he went too far to the left. That's going to be a major time penalty or time lost there for the 90 is Kynan. I believe that's the second time he's made a mistake entering his stop.
You would be correct on that, Carlos. He originally slid through on the initial caution, but luckily being, or unluckily being it under green flag, he's going to lose more time than he would, unfortunately, under a caution. But he was one of those drivers that hadn't taken tires since lap 51. The other drivers around there are the 61 and the 10, so expect to see them in sooner rather than later.
Thank you so much. And Will, I believe we have a battle here for first place in between 3 drivers, and any of these ones could get it.
Yeah, and the Imperial March starts once again as now Barrett Polimus in that 79 machine trying to get around Dallas Myhan right there in that 29. Dallas Myhan's being an excellent teammate there, trying to block just a little bit on the racetrack. As now Barrett Polimus is right on that tail trying to get around as we come down to corner number 1. So Seth Rollins is our leader here on lap number 96, still leading the way here. Got plenty of more racing to go here in the DSCR. Now Barrett Polimus going to try to the inside, not going to be enough speed off of 2. And so Seth Rollins is going to lead us down to corner number 3.
Yeah, yeah. At this point in the race, or at this point in this tire runs, a lot of these drivers' tires are starting to wear out, and the speeds are stabilizing for a lot of them. So that inside line pass that we've been seeing at the start of a run, we have a little chance of seeing that happen as well. We're technically seeing it right now, but that's only because the 29 hit the outside wall. Yet again, it's a side-by-side between him and Paul Hemus, the Imperial March playing well, as you mentioned. But as the laps go on, I just don't want to be on that inside line passing people. I want to hold my own on the outside line, and if possible, pass the other drivers on the outside line, because you're seeing here the 79 of Paul Hemus struggle on that inside line, especially in the exit of the corner.
Yeah, and it could be a move from Dallas Myhan to try to conserve those tires just a little bit, running that high side lane. It looks like we have some more drivers heading down pit road, Kynan. This could be the first wave of drivers we see.
Yeah, it was as I expected, the 61 and the 10 being the first drivers to come down, but another driver that I didn't really expect to come down quite as soon is the 30 of Joshua Robinson, being the first of the main lead pack cars to bring it down into pit road. So we should see more cars soon to follow. For a second I thought the 74 might be coming in, but right now haven't heard anything on the radio on anyone else coming in just yet.
All right, as we stay tuned to that, Kynan, we appreciate that. As now we're counting it down, Carlos, this race is essentially flown by here at Kansas Speedway. You know, we only have about 35 laps to go here tonight. This is where the action really starts to pick up right now, as we're starting to see some more drivers head down pit road, including Barrett Paul Hemus there in that 79.
Yeah, well said, Will. Any strategy to 79 right now, going down a couple laps earlier? Do we expect to see the 29 to the 25 pit in response?
Well, with it, yeah, sorry, I thought you were talking Will for a second, but with the 79 pulling the plug first, he's going to come out, and didn't seem like he actually took tires.
That is
no tires for
interesting.
the 79. So he either doesn't have any tires left, or he's going to be trying to save some just in case. But if you're the 29 or the 25, you'll be seeing that he didn't take tires, and maybe just try stretching it out a couple laps. If you saw him take no tires, that is, they may think him coming into pit road has resulted in tires. So right now the 25 staying up high and is going to stay out on track for another time by. Same with the 29, but seems like no real thought for the Shift Esports guys to come in just yet.
Thank you so much, Kynan. And then we're getting word from Johnny Eckert saying that he sped on his first stop, sped on his second stop, and got an unsafe pit exit, leaving his second time around. So disappointing night for Johnny Eckert, currently 4 laps down. And with the way this race is going, it looks like he's going to be finishing right alongside Nick Delicato in second to last and last place.
Yeah, that's such a shame out of the 90 machine of Johnny Eckert. We've talked about his fastest lap awards that he's received this season in the DSCR. So definitely a lot of speed and a lot of skill inside that number 90 machine of Johnny Eckert. But tonight's just not going to be his night. It seemed like his night just went from bad to worse. The car was really loose. He made contact on the top side wall. Now making pit road mistakes. He was speeding, missed his box. Just went from bad to worse for that number 90 machine, but we can't wait to see Johnny Eckert back in this field next week. Of course, he is one of these playoff drivers here, so it's still a lot to race for with about 2 races to go here in the DSCR. But right now, we're still watching Shift Esports at the top of the grid. We have less than 30 laps to go here tonight at Kansas Speedway. We are live here on 3Wide TV, and with this opportunity, Carlos, we want to shout out all of our wonderful sponsors that have been with us here the entire season. One of which is Manny Ray's Cemetery Landscaping Services there. Shout out to Manny Ray's for being with us. And I say this every time, Carlos, when we talk about Pro Air. We thought it was an AC company when we kicked off the season here on 3Wide TV. It's actually a medical supplies company. So shout out to both Manny Ray's and Pro Air for being wonderful sponsors of the DSCR here and being wonderful sponsors for the entire season.
Thank you so much. I also want to thank C. Warren at NASCAR.com. So if you need tickets to a NASCAR race at Darlington, Martinsville, Richmond, or the brand new Chicago Street Circuit, contact David. Contact Davis at C. Warren at NASCAR.com. So thank you so much for sponsoring the chase this year in the Dynasty Stock Car Racing League. First season, the inaugural season for these guys. And so far, it has been a pleasure. A lot of these races have been absolute bangers. And, well, all these sponsors have come in to sponsor greatly.
Yeah, and they make all these broadcasts possible. They make all this racing possible. They make the leagues strive. Of course, this league is led by Johnny Eckert. We have a lot of other people that are involved with this league. If it wasn't for the wonderful sponsors here in this league, as we're watching a pass take place right here on the track as Dallas Mahan. No, this is a lap car getting a lap back. That looks like right there, Bear Paul. He's just going to get his lap back on the track heading down the backstretch here. But once again, thank you for all the sponsors for making all of this possible here in the DSCR.
Well, I actually wanted to talk about... Oh, go on.
Just whilst I was going on and had to thank our wonderful sponsors, Seth Rolls in the 25 has brought it down into pit road. No real issues. He's put 4 tires on and he will be quick and should be able to jump the 79 as the run starts to envelop.
Interesting development. And thanks so much, Kynan. I did want to talk about Bear Paul Hemus and what we were talking about and what we saw him taking fuel only when he went down pit road. And I'm thinking back to all the times that he's kind of been in the front, especially towards the end of a stage. And I'm here thinking he's gone down pit road 5 times. I genuinely think he is out of tires.
Yeah, I think so too, Carlos. Or maybe there was one stop that he only got fuel. We'll have to double check that just to make sure. But if he's out of tires, this is the last set on that race car. And jumping to those lap speeds, we'll see if he's holding pace right now with these tires that he has on. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, he ran a 32.2 last time by. Right now, the leader ran a 34.3. So still a bit of speed on those tires for the 79 machine. Last time he headed down pit road was lap 99 as compared to our leader who last pit down on lap 82. We're speaking of Dallas Mahan there at the top of the grid. So he definitely has the freshest tires so far, with the exception of Seth Ross, who just headed down pit road there in the 25 machine. So watch out for Bear Paul Hemus in that 79 as the tire starts to build up just a little bit now with 25 laps to go, ladies and gentlemen. This race is flying by here on 3Wide TV. Bear Paul Hemus still has a lot of speed underneath him.
Yeah,
I can actually confirm I just went and checked and he has taken all 3 sets of his extra pit stop allocated tires.
Oof. So any last minute cautions and any of these high risk, high reward strategy takers that do have that extra set of tires, that's when they're going to come in clutch and we could see a strange winner, specifically in the top 10. Because if the caution comes out, the bar will get the free pass pending that no other driver gets stuck a lap down. But with the way it's going, I really don't expect to see a caution. But should one happen, that's going to shake up the field quite a bit.
Yeah, and if this holds pace with 24 laps to go, what a race it will be for that 29 machine of Dallas Mayan out of Shift Esports there. And Carlos, you mentioned it. He's basically a temporary driver. He jumps in the seat when somebody can't make it. He's in and out of the car. He's in and out of these weeks. He's in and out of these races, per se. We see him a lot in those modified races on Tuesday nights on 10-4 broadcasting. But here tonight, really showing out in that machine. He had early issues. He's overcome the adversity, overcome the challenges he had. He's now leading the race here, and he's got quite the lead, about a 7-second gap between him and DJ Weeks with 22 laps to go. If he can hold pace, this could be his race to win.
And I'm over here looking at all the awards that have been giving out post-race for, pole driver of the race, the Hard Charger Award, the Lap Leader Award, Fastest Lap of the Race Award, and the Stage Winner Award. And the one thing I'm not seeing is my hand's name on any of these. So my hand won his very first stage of the season right here tonight in stage number 2, and he's in prime position to get that first win of the season and join Andrew Hess, Ty McIntosh, Sam Brochu, Bear Pahimus, and Nick Delicado as race winners this year.
Yeah, and as we're mentioning that, though, the 97 and DJ Weeks just had a very fast lap last time by. It ran a 33 full flat. It's now cut that lead down to about 5 seconds, and it's going down like a submarine right now down to 5.5, almost 5 seconds flat. Now, DJ Weeks has found a lot of speed in that 97 machine. Watch this, ladies and gentlemen, when we cross this line. Just ran a 32.6, so on pace, about a 2-second difference between Dallas Mayan and DJ Weeks. Dallas Mayan last time by ran a 34.6. DJ Weeks ran a 32.6. So about a full 2-second difference between our race leader and the second place car of DJ Weeks.
I was not expecting this at all. He is gunning him down. And DJ Weeks, the last time he went down Pier Road in lap 84, he took no tires. He was only there for 4.4 seconds in his stall, compared to Dallas Mayan, who I'm assuming took tires and maybe even a slight bit of damage repair, because he was there for about 18.5 seconds. So the fact that DJ Weeks is chasing down Mayan by a drastic amount tells me that either Mayan is struggling very hard right now, and or Weeks has been saving his stuff and is ready to pounce.
Yeah, with 18 laps to go, we are in store for one of these DSCR finishes we'd love to see here on 3 Wide TV. This race is just turning up. It's just getting hot in here in Kansas. Shout out to Nelly right there, as now DJ Weeks in that 97 machine is less than a second and a half off the pace of Dallas Mayan in that 29. Now my question to you, Carlos, do you think Dallas knows about this? Do you think he knows that 97 machine is coming in a hurry?
Oh, I'm sure he does, but I actually have a question for Kynan, because Kynan has been monitoring a lot of these drivers out there, and he's mentioned Mayan before, and Kynan, you've mentioned specifically how the 29 has kind of struggled in the long runs. Are you seeing this kind of happening once again, as he's down to about 1 second of a lead?
Yeah, it definitely seems like he has a lot less grip than maybe he might have wanted. Earlier in the race, he has got the fastest lap award for now, but unless someone comes in and takes new tires, which Dallas, if he pits, he has no tires. He's already used up all of his allocated sets, and the set he's currently on, he's going to have to finish. So having to run quite a long stint on these tires, it's only going to really get worse for him.
All right, thank you so much. As well, it kind of has stabilized this time. We went from about 2 seconds to 1 second to 0.7, then back to almost 2 seconds to now only 1/10 of a second. And I think he actually lost some time. Yeah, he sure did. Will, what are you seeing out there? What caused Weeks to actually lose time this time?
Yeah, that's interesting to see right there. He was eating up that gap like Pac-Man, eating up the little yellow dots on the game board there. Now it's starting to even out right there. Ran at 32.6 as the same pace as our leader Dallas Mayan with a 32.6. Could it? I think it could have just been he gave it everything he could there in those last couple laps there. Just press the issue there in that 97. Use up as much of that fresh equipment or anything that he was saving there in that 97 machine. And now, right now, is at an even pace. Now has Jake Bustos right behind him, pushing him along. But still with 14 laps to go. Now that lead's starting to build back up once again. Now back up to almost 1.2, 1.3 seconds right there at the top of the grid. Now, we spoke about it before, Carlos, and I don't want to put the commentator's curse on Dallas just yet. We're here with 14 laps to go. If he can hold up there, if he can keep hitting those lines just as he was doing here the last, I'd say, 10 or 12 laps, he could seal this victory. Although DJ Weeks is coming in at 97 with Jake Bustos right behind him, it looks like they might run out of laps at the pace they're running.
Well, don't these guys gotta go down pit road one more time?
That's an excellent question. Kynan, do you think these drivers can make it to the end, or do they have to run down pit road quick, fast, and in a hurry?
Well, with how much time there was until or since the caution, it's going to be very close. You can save your entire run. I remember doing it in an old Oscar race at Charlotte last season in the Xfinity Series. End up saving an extra 7 laps of fuel just running green and just running my own line, but with how little off-throttle time you have here to be able to clutch in and maybe turn the engine off, I don't think you're going to be able to save enough fuel, but with Dallas being up behind the 61 and the 10, he's going to be able to lift a little bit sooner. Maybe, just maybe, he might be able to save an extra couple points of a gallon just to be enough to make it to this finish line. Might not be enough to do donuts, but if you can get it home at least, that's the main thing.
Now, as we cross this line with 11 laps to go, looking further down the grid there, kind of some of those drivers that did head down pit road. You know, we're looking at Seth Ross, who headed down pit road at lap 105. And looking at Tom Ogle, who headed down pit road lap 97. Looking at Barrett Polhemus, who headed down pit road lap 99, as well as Josh Robinson, 96, John DeBarro, 95. If some of these leaders on the top of the grid run out of fuel, run out of that window. Oh, we have a car crashing there on the front stretch. See if it brings out a caution. It's a single car incident there. And nothing just yet. Johnny Eckert's into the wall, and there's a caution flag.
Well, there you have it. That's gonna change everything. Hey, Kynan, thanks for everything you've done and all the speculation. All of that's been thrown out the window right now.
Don't ask me about strategy now. It's all out the window.
Wow.
Kynan, is there anybody out there that could have tires?
We have, I guess, Carlos, we have some under caution activities that are taking place now between the 22 and the 25. We'll have to rev up that 3Y TV replay to see what happened under caution there.
Yeah, let's pull up what happened with the 90. First of all, hit the outside wall. He's in the corner, and I guess just wasn't able to fully recover it. That kind of whole death wobble.
Oof.
Oh, I also don't know why the caution
close.
wasn't thrown out earlier. The caution kind of took a long time to come out.
Yeah, that was a late caution there, Carlos.
Who did you say was clashing?
The 25 and the 22.
Let's see what's going on. Oh ho ho! That is contact under caution.
That is a little bit of a love tap there from David Westergreen in that 22. It could have been, though, Carlos. Now, I'm not making any excuses now. Could have been because the caution flag came out late. David Westergreen may have not have seen the yellow light flashing it just yet, or getting word over the radio that the caution flag was out, because it looked like he did try to check up as he was coming up on the back bumper of the 25 of Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins has already slowed down because of the caution. David Westergreen looked like he was trying to check up. That's why you didn't see much damage or much of an impact there between those two cars. It's like just a simple accident for me up here in the booth. But with 8 laps to go here, gentlemen, this is going to be one heck of a sprint to the end. Now, all the drivers will be about even, with the exception of DJ Weeks, who's going to stay out, and Andrew Hess is going to stay out as well on the racetrack. The rest of these drivers are going to have fresh tires, fresh fuel, everything, all of the above. Right now, as we're going to kick things off here, we're going to say about 5 laps to go, maybe 6 laps to go, guys. Both of you, how do you see this race playing out here at the end?
Alex, you want to take it over first?
Yeah, go on first.
Well, okay, I guess I'll do it, but right now I'm looking at when was the last pit stop. DJ and the 54, both pitted on lap 85, while Seth Rolls pitted 4 new tires, most importantly, on lap 106. So right now I'm looking at Seth, who's going to be starting on that inside. It will be able to take it a little bit easy on the restart, but is going to have those extra new tires to be able to walk around them going into turn 3 and 4. That's how I expect it to walk or turn out.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Jake Bustos, as far as I can tell, the only one with the fresh tires, and on the lead lap. So we only had 4 drivers go down pit road, and the rest of the field stayed out because they're out of tires. Bustos the only one, as far as I can tell, with fresh tires. So it'll be interesting to see his rise through the field if he has the car and the skill to make it up all the way. Which driver kind of saved their stuff for a last minute caution that could potentially challenge for the lead. But kind of, I'm going to go ahead and leave it to you to kind of see if you can figure out what's going on between the 25 and the 22. Just let us know when, if you find any information on that, because that'll be interesting to see just what happened with them. Well, with 7 laps to go, Will, what are you seeing out there? Do you think we're going to have the same drivers kind of lead and win this race, or do you think Jake Bustos is going to have the ability to get to that lead?
No, you're going to have what the surfers call in that community a maverick wave of speed coming behind DJ Weeks and Andrew Hess right now. We have Seth Rawls who's going to be on a fresh set of tires. We have Tom Ogle decided just to get fuel down pit road, but very, very fast here tonight as well. You have Barrett Pelhemus, of course. Darth Vader is going to be coming quick, fast, and in a hurry as well. That 79 machine. So watch out here on this restart. DJ Weeks and Andrew Hess are going to have to get to it as fast as possible. Start blocking both lines. Start putting that back bumper in front of some of these guys. Because as these laps start to tick down, a lot of that speed, a lot of that anxiety behind them is going to start to build up. And knowing these dogs they have behind them, they're going to be hungry. They're going to want to win this race here tonight, Kansas.
Yeah, well said. And well, after this, we're going to have the final 3 races of the season at Richmond, Texas, and Homestead. Richmond being a very difficult track for a lot of people to kind of understand. Kind of easy to drive around, but hard to master. Then we got the one-lane Texas, where you really can't afford to make a mistake on the inside line. And then if you got the best track of them all, Homestead Miami Speedway, where momentum is key, and you have to ride that outside wall like you have no fears. So 3 different types of races. And, well, once this is done, we'll truly be halfway with the chase. And, well, Will, pace cars off. We're about to have possibly the last restart of the race.
Yeah, as DJ Weeks and that number 97 machine is going to take us to the drop of the green flag. And we are back green flag racing once again here in the DSTR as DJ Weeks and that 97 is going to take us down into corner number 1. Has Seth Ross and that 25 machine Shift Esports right there behind him on the inside lane. But watch out now as he's already overtaken Andrew Hess, and you see Tom Ogle trying to make a move on Andrew as well. Things are going to get crazy here as we head down into 3 and 4.
I'm currently on board with Jake Bustos going to the inside. Thought about going to the outside of the 30, who kind of gets in the wall, and they're wrecking it in front and behind him.
Oh. And you see no caution yet on the racetrack with 4 laps to go, and that looks like that's Tom Ogle who got the worst of that reshuffle. They're going to take a quick look here at the 3Y TV replay to see what happened to one of the fastest cars of the night there. Tom Ogle, he's going to get bunched up just a little bit there right behind Barrett Pelhemus. He's going to scrape the wall off of 4. So it looked like just a little bit of a self-mistake there on the Tom Ogle.
That was a large case of monkey see, monkey do. A lot of the one driver hit the outside wall, and then pretty much all the drivers behind him on the outside line hit the wall in retaliation, just following what that first driver was doing. So we saw that with the 30, we saw that with Tom Ogle, and we saw there were a couple others in that replay. But now Bustos, who I was looking for in car, 3rd place right there for the lead, essentially, as the 25 and the 97 continue to battle it out. 74 shooting through the middle to the race lead, 74 of Jake Bustos.
What a huge move out of Jake Bustos to take that right through the middle. He said slingshot engage. He hit that nitrous oxide like Paul Walker did in Fast and Furious, and he shot the gap perfectly there, as now Jake Bustos is going to lead the way here with 2 laps to go down the backstretch.
John DeBarro not too far behind, honestly. He could be in contention. I think he actually also took tires because he went down pit road for about 26.5 seconds and is running similar lap times to Bustos. Weeks in third, no tires. Seth Rawls also no tires. Everybody behind them is now battling for third place as we're on the last lap, and it's a battle between the 74 and the 61.
Yeah, and Jake Bustos just ran a 31.6 and ran a 31.12 last time by before that lap. On the final lap, though, Jake Bustos is going to take us down into 3 and 4. Basically a parade lap around these last couple of corners in that U.S. Army machine. And Jake Bustos is going to win here tonight in the Kansas 200.
What a fantastic race for Jake Bustos and John DeBarro in the 74 and 61 respectively. This is absolutely the last thing I expected out of what should have been a very calm Kansas race. And well, this is what I opened up with when I first started talking. Will, I said this race, should be calm. It's the track. It's the type of track that all these drivers are familiar with. Small car count. It should be relatively quick and simple. And I said it was still gonna be an exciting race regardless. And what happened? We got ourselves another exciting race here at the end. Something we didn't expect. And unfortunately for Nick and Delicato, he probably would have been possibly contending for the win had he had not had that toe link issue, because he was publicly on that strategy very early on, and I kind of was not agreeing with his move there at all, but it would have worked out, unfortunately, with his issues. But the 74 of Bustos gets that well-deserved victory, got that high risk, high reward. And honestly, if I was him, I would probably be putting on a couple bets, maybe playing some lottery right now.
Yeah, as Jake Bustos is going to burn it down here in that 74 U.S. Army machine. We just had Veterans Day about a week ago on the 11th. He is showing out for all those veterans here tonight in that U.S. Army machine. What a way to win here tonight. A non-chase driver wins here in the chase in that 74 machine. We talked about how important it is for these non-chase drivers to still race it out here the rest of the season. There was only 2 of them here tonight, Carlos, and here tonight we have one of them in victory lane.
There was a 1 in 6.5%, or sorry, 1 in 6.5. Wait, what's chance of that happening? And it happened tonight. Only 2 non-chase drivers competing, and one of them got that victory dub there. And because he won, technically, there was no money kind of left on the table among the chase drivers, because they all finished behind them, with the exceptions of the drivers who finished behind my hand. Ty McIntosh, Tom Ogle, Johnny Eckert, Nick and Delicato, they all essentially left a little bit of money on the table, not finishing ahead of a playoff driver. With the 74 doing that Polish victory lap, it was a couple. I think it was a couple days ago on the anniversary of Alan Kulwicki getting that championship and doing that Polish victory lap. I believe that is what I saw. So congratulations to the 74 of Jake Bustos getting his first win in his Dynasty stock car racing career. First win of the season, and I believe he is going to be the 6th different winner this season, joining Nick Delicato, Barry Paul Heeman, Sam Brochu, Ty McIntosh, and Andrew Hess. So fantastic drive. I'm going to go ahead and step away for... Actually, before I step away for a little bit, Kynan, were you able to hear anything between the 25 and the 22?
From what I have been able to figure out, it's just a case of the 25 seems to have lifted just to try save a bit of fuel, but then the 22 trying to go around and catch the pace car and just caught up a bit too quickly compared to what he was probably wanting, so just a miscommunication.
Oh, okay. All right, definitely
Carlos,
didn't... Yeah, go on.
Before we let you go, is there any way we could take another look at that move that Jake made to overtake for the lead? I think that move gets a second look there, because that was such an awesome move to shoot the gap, go in between the 2 leaders of DJ Weeks and Seth Ross, blast by them right in the middle to overtake the lead. And once he did that, he never looked back here. We're going to take, once again, another look here on the 3-wide TV replay. We're going to watch the restart here. We're going to restart here with 5 laps to go. gonna ride on board with Bustos right here. And you see how many cars are in front of him here, Carlos. There's a lot of guys right there behind him. With this now, with 5 laps to go, we're gonna restart. We'll start to see the work that Jake puts on here to get through the grid.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job. I was worried a little bit on that first 2 laps where he kind of was going 2 wide, 3 wide. I believe on the exit of 3 and 4 here in this first lap, he gets right behind the 30 machine and kind of almost pushes him into the outside wall, as we see a couple drivers go up into the outside wall with that monkey see, monkey do. You saw almost every driver on that outside line hit the outside wall following the guy in front of them. And then that kind of opened it up a little bit, and by the time he gets off of 1 and 2, he's already by, I believe, 3rd place early on here, exiting the corner. Gonna get in position to get to that 3rd place spot between passing the 79 and the 30 machine.
Ooh. Look at that speed, though, Carlos. He was having difficulty maintaining that thing. It was so fast there in these last couple laps.
Yeah, and then right there you see, with only a couple laps remaining, I think it was 5 laps to go at this point, we see the 2 leaders battling side by side, and you see the massive run that he gets throughout the middle of the corner. Gets a little loose. I didn't even see that the first time.
He's right there behind them both, and he does it on the entry of 3. I didn't even see that either. He does it on the entry of the corner, splits the gap between Seth Rollins and DJ Weeks. They could all but wave him goodbye, as this is the race-winning move right there. He never looked back. And Carlos, another fun fact for this victory for Jake Bustos, he started dead last here tonight at Kansas and ends up winning the race after starting dead last there on that grid.
What a fantastic job. Let's quickly go over the final race results. Jake Bustos getting first win of the season, first win of his career in the Dynasty Stock Car Racing League. John DeBarro, 2nd place. Both drivers with the amazing high-risk, high-reward strategy. Really didn't expect that to happen, didn't expect that to play along, but it did at the very end when it counted. Seth Rollins finishing 3rd, DJ Weeks 4th, Andrew Hessen 5th. Barry Paul Heemus didn't get 3 in a row, still has 3 wins this season, and I believe should still be your points leader this race over on now halfway through the chase run. David Westergreen in 7th, Josh Robinson 8th, Tyler Myhand in 9th, and Ty McIntosh rounding out the top 10. Tom Ogle, unfortunate at the very end, running strong nearly all the race, about 95% of the race, and then it gets involved in an incident, loses all that track position without any time to recover, finishing in 11th. Johnny Eckert and Nick Delicato 12th and 13th. The 2 drivers that, Johnny Eckert did finish the race, but Nick Delicato did have a DNF with a broken toe link and would have been the 3rd driver to do that, a high-risk, high-reward strategy of saving a set of tires. Could have worked out for Nick. Unfortunately, got caught up in another issue, and that's going to be his 3rd race in a row. All the races in the chase have finished in disappointment for Nick Delicato, who we saw nearly running in perfection itself on the regular season, kind of having a Kyle Busch 2008 scenario where dominates the regular season and then is just riddled with bad luck and issues to start the playoffs.
Yes, sir, but I believe it is time to catch up with our podium finishers here. First is going to be the captain of the Shift Esports racing team there, the number 25 machine of Seth Rollins. And Seth, here tonight, you're going to finish 3rd. We saw the speed you had, though, in that 25 machine. We were just looking over Jake Bustos' last couple lap there, past to blow past you and DJ Weeks there. Take us through your race here tonight at Kansas, and you got a 3rd place finish. You're going to be kind of psyched about that, but I think that 25 machine had some speed, though.
Yeah, we had some good speed tonight. I think it was a fun track. I don't think I've ever done a next-gen race here. I don't think so. It's probably my first next-gen race here. So, fun car. Definitely challenging. Pick the lines, and then my biggest challenge all night was strategy. I know I was talking to Kynan earlier, and I thought I missed it at the first pit stop where I stayed out, or didn't take tires. And I thought I had it there at the end. I thought no one else had a set. They all burned them. And then all of a sudden the 74 and the 61 come out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, wait. So that was tough to kind of have the win. I feel like it was in my hands because I had better tires than DJ. And just kind of, ripped it from me. But, I'll take the result. Third place ain't bad after a few bad weeks. I'll take it.
Yeah, great run here tonight at Kansas. And I know you're a teammate type of guy, you're a team-oriented type of guy. So I'll ask you about Dallas Mahan's performance here tonight. Unfortunately, he's going to finish in the 9th position, but he's going to get the fastest lap award, running a 30.9. You led a bunch of laps here tonight. How impressed are you from Dallas's performance here tonight for Shift Esports?
Big time. I think Dallas has done a great job. I know he's missed a couple races because of the actually, no, he wasn't actually signed up for run the race, but he's replacing Matthew Bayuk, who had to step out out of the car. But he's been done a great job. I think the whole team has been great this season. Obviously, been struggling recently to get back in the win column. But I think he's been a great job, and I think the result today, the 9th, good run, but I think he had definitely some more speed. I was interested to see how that strategy was going to work out before the last yellow. I think I might have had a shot at it too, but he was in the hard save strategy, so that was gonna be interesting to see if that worked out.
Yeah, and as we look forward to Richmond next week, Seth, you finished 3rd here tonight. As you mentioned, you're starting to get the bearings underneath you a little bit. The 25 machine's really starting to perform for you now as the season rolls to a finish. Just a few races left here in the season. Now, what can you carry from this race here tonight at Kansas that maybe you can put that 25 machine in victory lane next week at Richmond?
Richmond's a tough track. I always feel like I don't like it, but in past races I've actually ran pretty okay there. So I'll take the confidence from this race and hopefully put that towards next race. I know the short track package is something that's been controversial in this cars, so I'll be interested to try it out. Definitely gonna have to get some laps in, I think, before that one. This one I really didn't have any time to do some practice, so but I think it still worked out. But it definitely wants to get some more laps at Richmond.
Well, Seth, with that podium finish, we'd love to give you drivers the opportunity to shout out anybody that you had watching here tonight, any sponsors that may have made this race possible, and where people can find more information about you or Shift Esports on social media.
Yeah, first off, gotta link Launch Partners. They've been great all season. They're a great marketing firm that helps, kind of jumpstart small businesses or bigger businesses if they want to get in the social media space. Check them out at Launch Partners. They have Twitter, Instagram, and a website. So check them out there. Also shout out to Shift Esports, like you said. My team of guys done a great job all season as we kind of wind down the year. And then last but not least, I'll give a shout out to, or not last but not least, I'll give a shout out to myself, SR Design, do paint schemes, logos, you name it. Check me out at SethRawlsDesign.com. And then last but not least, you guys for putting this thing on. It's been great to watch the broadcast every week and send it to my family and friends who are watching at home.
Awesome, Seth. Well, you're going to finish 3rd here tonight at Kansas. Another strong performance from Shift Esports. I want to congratulate you on an excellent performance here tonight. Finishing 3rd. We want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, as well as it looks like we have next week off here in the DSCR. So we'll see you in about 2 weeks after the holiday, Seth. And great run here tonight. We appreciate you taking the time, man, and enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir. And that was Seth Rawls, our 3rd place finisher. But Kyan, I believe you're catching up with our 2nd place finisher, John DeBarro, down on pit road.
Hey, hey, John. I haven't really spoken to you much here before, but talk us through how tonight went for you.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Yeah, it was a fun one. Just kind of got lucky there with how the cautions fell. My first green flag pit stop, I had an unsafe entry penalty, so from then on I was just trying to make the tires last as long as I could. Took a wave around, had a pit after I took the wave around, so my whole goal at that point was just damage limitation and trying to save one set of tires just in case things fell right for me and the caution came out late. And sure enough, I was trying to stay on the lead lap there, that end run, and then right when I decided I didn't want to get in the way of the leaders and started backing off a bit, the caution came out, but it was okay. I got the lucky dog, so from then on I knew I was going to have to drive to the field, and I was pretty confident that I was going to be one of, if not the only guy to still have a set of tires left. And I didn't really realize Jake had a set of tires as well too until he blew right by me when I had to check up for a wreck. So yeah, he made some really nice moves getting through the pack there. That's what it came down to, just who's gonna like slice through the pack better. And he made some nice moves. I had to check up once, and that was really all she wrote. I couldn't catch him after that.
Well, you mentioned something, or mentioned how you wanted to save a set of tires for the end, and you end up doing that. But just talk us through, was the consideration on tires being that big of an issue before the race started, or as the race started to unfold, you started to realize, oh, I'm gonna need to save an extra set of tires here, or just what was the situation in your mind for tires?
Yeah, we were chatting about that in the waiting room. I think tires are falling off a little more than I expected with it like being a night race and cooler track, but I thought I was saving my tires by running the top, and then I figured out after that first run that having a set of tires is definitely going to be a premium at the end of the race. So yeah, that first caution, I thought I could get a set ahead by just taking fuel only. And then I realized how much tires meant when the guys who did take tires on that caution really gapped the rest of us who didn't. So yeah, like I said, after that penalty, like from there on, that was my goal, was just to hopefully get lucky and have one set of tires left to run through the field.
Well, I'd say you were able to get pretty lucky, and even though it's not a win, it's still a second place. So, who do you have anyone that you would like to thank for helping you get out here tonight?
No, I'll just out my friends who will be watching the broadcast later, or I'll definitely show them that crazy last restart. But yeah, thank you guys for putting on the race. Always enjoy watching the broadcast back, and of course the admins for putting on another one. It's been some fun playoff races so far, so hopefully these next 3 or so races are just as exciting.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can talk to you here, not next week, but the week after that in Richmond. So, with that, we'll let you go and go celebrate with your team.
Sounds good. Have a good night, guys.
Yes, sir. And that was John DeBarra, our second place finisher of the night. But Kine, I believe it is time to talk to the man of the hour, the guy who essentially came out of nowhere, number 74 U.S. Army machine, a guy that we just watched that last restart there. Blew the doors off of Seth Ross and DJ Weeks to take the lead, shot the gap, and once he did, they all but waved him goodbye. As Jake Bustos, you take the win here tonight at Kansas. Me and Carlos were talking about there was only 2 of you drivers out there that are non-chase drivers. That didn't matter to you here tonight, though, as you pick up a huge win at Kansas. Break it down to us how you got it done.
Oh, it's always nice to come in and spoil the party for these chase boys, I tell you. You know, it all started with that first run. We had that caution on like lap 17 or 18, and it was a 50-50 split on the field. You know, some came in and took tires, some didn't. I was one of the guys that didn't, so I pretty much ran in that second pack the whole next stint. Ran fully through the fuel cycle. Then I finally put my first set on at like lap 60 or something like that. Stayed a lap down. Got the benefit of the lucky dog on that caution on lap 81. Came back out on freshies from there, and then went in the fuel saving mode. Myself, DJ, D West, and Hess, we were all clutching, shutting the cars off, you know, trying to save. Wound up being good to the finish, and then unfortunately, you know, Johnny had that accident with about 7 to go, and it just, you know, it put me in the catbird seat. I knew I had a fresh set in the pits. I didn't know DeBarra had tires, so we took that restart. I saw him making some moves, and then I realized he had tires too, and I had to go from there, and I couldn't really wait on anyone. So there were a few close moments with some drivers and shooting the gap through the middle, but at the end of the day, the strategy paid off for us.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you there. We watched that replay. We dropped the green flag, I'd say about 4 or 5 laps to go there. And once we started to come off of corner number 2, we saw really that the 74 machine just kind of get a lot more speed, a lot more aggression. Did you feel coming off that first set of corners that you may have had the car to... Did you start to feel that speed underneath you?
I knew I was going to be quicker than the drivers that were out there just based on how many laps I had on theirs. But once I finally got around D West and whoever he was running with, I think it was Dallas, and I had a little bit of a gap to the drivers in front of me, and I went into turn 3 and it just stuck anywhere I wanted to put the car. It was game on. I was taking whatever available lane there was, and I was going. I wasn't going to get held up by anybody.
Yeah, and how gutsy of a move. I can only imagine. Me and Carlos we're going crazy up here in the booth when you pulled it off. But to be able to shoot the gap on DJ Weeks and Seth Rollins right up there, not only did you do that, you did that on an entry of a corner. So take us through. Did you just shoot the gap? You full send? Shout out to the Nelk boys there, just straight through the gap, or did you start to calculate like, okay, I'm starting to run out of laps here. I need to start making some moves.
It was definitely the laps. I think there was 2 to go, or coming to 2 to go when I made that pass on them. And I saw DeBarro there, and I knew I couldn't afford to get held up going into corner entry because it would have killed all my momentum. So there was a gap in between them. DJ went up to the wall, Seth went down low, and then I don't think I fully came out of the throttle on corner entry just to make sure I could clear them, because I knew I had enough grip I could clear them, lift out of it completely, and get back on the throttle and pull away.
Yeah, and Jake, we're speaking with Jake Bustos here, a first-time winner here in the DSCR. Better late than never, my man. We have about 3 races left, and next week we hit Richmond. How can you carry this momentum, carry this big confidence booster of finally getting that 74 machine, U.S. Army machine, into victory lane? We're about a week removed from Veterans Day, so what a way to honor those veterans out there putting that U.S. Army machine in victory lane. How can you carry this win over the next week at Richmond?
It's just the confidence helps with this car. The next gen car is one of those things where you don't quite know what it's going to do every week. Some tracks, you got to drive the wheels off of it. Some tracks you have to go 50-60% to start the race so that you have tires at the end of it. So just getting in there, getting some laps, and then just the confidence to know that the car is going to do what you want it to do is definitely going to help us out.
Well, we're still flabbergasted by those last 5 laps of the race, which led to you getting your first win of the season, that 74 machine. And Jake, I don't think we've ever had you here in victory lane, but with that win, we'd love to give you drivers the opportunity to shout out anybody that may have saw your first win on the season, any sponsors that made that first win possible, and if you have social media, where can people find you?
First, I gotta thank you guys up here at 3Y TV. Absolutely love your guys' broadcast. 3Y TV, they do the broadcast for another league I'm in on Monday, so it's always nice to go back and watch. There's just everything's put together so nice. Johnny Eckert, DJ Weeks, the ones over here running the show at DSCR, they're doing great. First year league. It's a fantastic place. There's a lot of talent here. Also gotta thank Johnny Eckert for the paint. He's the one that put the colors together on the car. Always proud to be, repping the United States Army and, kind of, putting them up front and showing them what's up. And thanks to all the drivers that come out every week, and for everyone that watched the race, man, I hope y'all enjoyed it as much as I did.
Yeah, well, we definitely enjoyed it up here in the booth. As I said, me and Carlos were going crazy. This was Kynan's first race here in the DSCR, so he got a great taste of what week in and week out we get here in this series. But a huge congratulations from us here at 3Y TV on your first win of the season here at Kansas, and boy, did you do it in style those last 5 laps of the race there, Jake. But we want to appreciate you taking the time with us here, my man. Go celebrate this first win of the season for you, your first win here in the DSCR. I think it's going to be one of many as we wrap up the inaugural season here in this league. But we're going to wish you also a happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you in about 2 weeks, and hopefully we'll see that 74 victory lane here pretty soon.
I appreciate it, gentlemen. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see y'all.
Yes, sir. That was our race winner, Jake Bustos, here tonight. And guys, I'll bring you both in on that one. What a race it was here tonight from Kansas. We had some guys that were up at the top of the grid, faded back. Nick and Delicato actually didn't finish the race here tonight, a guy that's won a bunch of races this season and kind of opened the door for this race. Eric Walhemus is going to finish outside of the top 5, and for a non-playoff driver to win this race here tonight came as a surprise to everybody.
Carlos, you're the main man who runs the place, so you want to answer first?
No, you go ahead and answer first. You're the rookie here for this league here in the pit race reporter role. So go ahead and answer first.
It was quite the interesting first race to be trying to figure out how the strategy starts to unfold. We saw some drivers coming in and then others towards the end just not having that extra set of tires. Dallas had the fastest lap and looked to have maybe been able to wrap it up if things had have gone his way slightly. Then on that initial restart, I had thought that Seth would have been able to hold it off and be able to take the win away, but still good work for the 74 and the 61 to be able to have that extra set in hand and ultimately be able to jump their way up and show up right when it mattered the most.
Yeah, Carlos, any final thoughts on tonight's race?
It's just the fact that usually when I open my mouth, I get proven wrong, and I got proven wrong very hard today. I was kind of critical of Nick Delicato's kind of decision to kind of save that set of tires with the fact that he wasn't desperately far away from the points lead. I would have gone with the move to just take tires and just hope that the chances of a caution coming out at the end of the race, wouldn't happen. And chances are that they probably wouldn't have happened. But I got proven wrong, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for Delicato like I brought up. But he did have the right idea. It's just you can't really predict these things.
No, you cannot predict these things at all, as we're going to have 2 weeks off here in the DSCR as we have Thanksgiving coming up next week here. So we want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. A big congratulations for Jake Bustos winning the race here tonight. And once again, we want to thank our wonderful sponsors here in the DSCR, Mini Rays, Cemetery Landscaping, a company there, and Pro Air Medical Supplies. Without them, none of these races would be possible, or these broadcasts would be possible. And we want to be able to broadcast that wonderful finish we had here tonight at Kansas. But for myself, William Tiller, the man behind the decks, Carlos Acosta, and Kynan Jones, his first race of the season with us here at 3YTV on Pit Road. We want to wish everybody a great night. We would appreciate you watching here tonight. A happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in 2 weeks back here in the DSCR on 3YTV.